Psychological entrapment is the painful feeling of being trapped inside a situation you no longer want, yet somehow cannot imagine leaving. It can happen in relationships, careers, family dynamics, friendships, or even lifestyles that have gradually become incompatible with who you are. The trap is not always physical or obvious. Sometimes the walls are built from fear, guilt, financial pressure, emotional attachment, social expectations, or the belief that leaving would mean admitting that years of effort were wasted. You may constantly tell yourself that things will improve if you simply try harder, become more patient, or sacrifice a little more. One of the clearest signs is repeatedly imagining another life while convincing yourself that changing direction is impossible. You may feel exhausted by your circumstances, yet the thought of making a change creates even greater anxiety. Another sign is sunk cost thinking, where you remain committed to something primarily because you have already invested so much time, energy, money, or emotion into it. You may defend a situation you privately dislike because admitting the truth would force you to confront how long you have tolerated it. Over time, hope becomes attached to the idea that one future event will finally make everything worthwhile. You wait for someone to change, for circumstances to improve, for recognition to arrive, or for the perfect moment to escape, while months or years quietly pass. The greatest tragedy of psychological entrapment is that familiarity begins feeling safer than freedom. Even when the situation is painful, the unknown seems more frightening than the suffering you already understand. You may lose confidence in your ability to make independent decisions, because you have spent so long adapting yourself to circumstances that no longer fit. Recognizing these signs does not mean every difficult situation should be abandoned immediately. Some responsibilities genuinely require patience, planning, and careful preparation. The deeper question is whether you are staying because you consciously choose the situation or because fear has convinced you that you have no choice. Healing begins by separating obligation from helplessness. Ask yourself what is actually preventing change, what part of the situation can be influenced, and what small step would move you toward greater freedom. You do not need to destroy your entire life overnight to begin reclaiming it. Sometimes, freedom begins with a boundary, an honest conversation, a financial plan, professional support, or simply admitting to yourself that you are no longer happy where you are. The past investment does not obligate you to sacrifice the future. You are allowed to change direction, even after years of walking one path. Sometimes the door is not locked. You have simply been standing in front of it for so long that you forgot you were allowed to open it.